Hi, welcome to the device world. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to refurbish the LCD/glass on an iPhone 7 or 8 Plus. So observing this LCD, we can see it's very damaged. There's a lot of cracks in it. Refurbishing an LCD is the most efficient way, which saves the most money and still keeps the original product/LCD. Let's get started. Alright, so just observe the cracks and the damages on this LCD again. We already went ahead and powered it on and tested and made sure it's good to go, it has no touch issues. And we went ahead and removed the side, the frames and the screws and the back plate, and we're going to be cutting from the bottom to the top. So you want to heat up your separation machine to 80 degrees and get started. Okay, so now we're going to start by removing or cutting, because we're going to sneak our cutting wire into this little edge right here. That's where our cutting wire is going to go. So we're going to just help ourselves out by, separating and breaking up the LCD a little bit. So it's going to be easy for us to, remove this, frame bezel out the way. So, cut on the side. And I'm cutting it so I'm trying to, bend. I'm trying to pull this side out, to the side as I'm cutting it. So I'm gonna cut right there to separate it on this side. I'm gonna split it. The same thing I'm doing. I'm trying to pop this out towards this direction. Okay. If you're cutting in, the top glass is coming off, you can always just take that off. Put that in the trash. So now we're gonna place it back in our separators machine. I'm gonna get the vacuum started. So now that it is on and it's good, I'm gonna put our gloves on. Some people use gloves, you don't have to, but I do. Things like this can get very hot. So, taking off the bezel on the frame, we're pulling it to the side, and I'm putting enough pressure on the LCD that I'm not cracking it. I'm holding it very gently as I'm peeling this off to the side. Working my way to the side, boom. After you have that removed, I always take my blade and try to remove any type of excess glue that's going to be on the side, so it doesn't give us trouble when we're trying to sneak that wire inside there. So I'm removing a little bit of, just a tiny bit of glue. Sometimes it can get on the side. Okay. So next we're going to actually start cutting with the wire. So you're going to grab your cutting wire. Now I believe this one is this an 8mm, but it really doesn't matter what size, but I mean I prefer 8mm. Yeah, and this wire can get really dangerous and it can get really tangled, so just be careful with it. It can cut through almost anything. So we sifted that wire right at that bottom part. We want to cut it right between the glass. We don't want to cut too deep because we can end up cutting inside into the polarizer, which can, damage the LCD, leave lines and stuff. And I'm going sideways as I cut it. I'm going really slow, and I'm pressing downwards back a little bit. And I'm pressing downwards. Okay? And when I get to the top, I'm going to work my way back down to the bottom, just so I can get the LCD to move and separate easily. See, moving a little bit. I'm just giving it a couple more jabs. Oh, there we go. Turn your vacuum off. Remove your gloves. And perfect. We have separated the glass. So now this is the old glass, and it's still our LCD, and it's still in good condition. And also notice how when you cut the glass and it's coming out all white, that means you cut it perfectly right between the glass and the OCA, and you're not cut inside the polarizer. If you separate it and it's coming up, you know, with black lines in, or it's coming up, you know, with a whole bunch of side is very, very black, that means you're cutting too deep into the polarizer. So you might have to get a thinner cutting wire, or make sure you're getting the angle right and you're removing glue on the side. So after we have it like this, we're gonna throw it on our tester phone and make sure that the LCD is good. We didn't damage it while, you know, separating the screen. After we have the LCD separated from the glass, we're gonna throw it on our tester phone or the phone that we're using. Just to double check, make sure we didn't damage the LCD further while we're taking it off the using the separation machine. So boom, as we turn it on, we don't see any type of damage. So damage, we're just looking for, you know, any type of lines, vertical lines, any type of heat marks or whatever it is. I always let it turn on to the full screen, but some people, when it turns on to this section, they'll always move on and they're good to go. But I turn it on fully and I test and I make sure that everything is still working. It has glue. So this has OCA glue on the top right here. So every time to touch it is not gonna be as responsive. So don't have any sort of panic attacks that is not, you know, working correctly. But if you do it slowly, you're gonna get it to go. So now we're gonna turn it off. And the next step that we're gonna do, we're gonna remove the polarizer film of this LCD. Okay. So now that we already went ahead and removed the glass and we already tested the LCD and make sure it's good to go, we're gonna go ahead and remove the polarizer film. Now this machine is set to about 200 degrees and this machine can get extremely hot. So when I'm using this machine, I'm not wearing gloves because I'm really trying to cut precise, but be very, very careful when you're working with this machine. So we're gonna align our LCD on our mold. And before we align it up, we're gonna try to cut it on the side edge so it can help us, you know, cut it all the way across. So we're gonna be using, you know, the corner side of this blade right here. We're gonna be sneaking right into that polarizer film. Now, most people cut too deep, or when they try to put it in, like they go way too deep and actually try to cut inside the backlight. The polarizer film is very, very thin. It's the first film that's on that LCD. So you want to get your blade there. And I'm working a little bit faster with this, guys, because, you know, I've been doing this for a while. But, yeah, when you're doing this, you want to be very, very gentle because you don't want to damage the LCD. Nor do you also want to leave it, you know, with too much heat on, because that can also damage your LCD. There it is. So, yeah, I'm just, you know, making it back and forth. So when I finally start cutting it at one set, it's just gonna roll right off. This is my little trick that I do. I always peel it off a little bit, then I just sneak this behind it. But be very careful when you're doing this. You can burn yourself. Trust me, I've burned myself a couple of times. But make sure it's aligned right. I'm putting 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, holding it down firm. Make sure I'm not breaking it. And we're going straight across. Straight across. When you want to get to right there, the edge, you don't want to go too deep. And boom. Now you want to separate it. Ooh. This thing can get extremely hot, like I'm saying. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Take your time when you get to this point. You don't want to pull it too hard because the LCD is going to try to split in half and you're going to be upset. Boom. Trash box. So now that we're done with this, move on to the next step. But now we're going to be coming to the final, well, second to the last stage. There's a clean phase, so you want to, again, after you remove the polarizer, put it back on your tester device. Make sure you didn't damage anything else. Now, when you turn it on the first time after removing the polarizer, it's gonna look crazy to you, but just don't panic. Everything is gonna come up with a white screen because it was coming up with the Apple logo at first. Just don't panic. Now, here's the cool thing. When you have your 4-in-1 glass with a polarizer already installed inside, when you go over it, you're gonna see the Apple logo. But because that means the polarizer is inside. But without no polarizer, you're not gonna see anything. With the polarizer, you're gonna see something. No polarizer, nothing. With the polarizer, you see something. No polarizer, you don't see anything. So when you get to the stage, don't panic. But still go over with your glass and, inspect and make sure there's no lines or any type of damages before you can move on to the cleaning phase. So now with your cleaning phase, you're going to be using the same mold that we used when we were removing the polarizer. You're going to get your cleaning cloths together, acetone, 8333 or 8222, whatever you want to use. But I'm going to start with 8222. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that. I still have some OCA polarizer remover that I remove. This is the same thing as 8222, but this one's a little bit stronger. Okay, so lining up your cloths, you want to. So when we put this chemicals on it, we want to avoid the edges of the screen because we don't want it to sift through inside and get inside the backlight and damage our LCD. So we're just gonna drop this on. And when I put the 8222 on, I just leave it for about a minute. Then I just come back. Then it just it removes it nicely without me having to struggle a lot. So boom, there we go. We got it evenly on the screen. We're not going too much at the bottom because we're not trying to get to that edge. Because anything that's gonna go to the edge is gonna sift right through. And we're gonna wait about 2 minutes or a minute, then we're gonna come back. Okay, so now that we left our cleaning cloths on our LCD for about a minute or two, we're gonna see how it's gonna come off. Now using 8222, it lets it come off very, very gently. See how all that glue is coming off? I always try to get as much off as I can. Then I use my micro blades to go over it. So try to remove as much glue as I can. And we're gonna clean this glass to perfection so it can be perfect when we're ready to align our glass. Let me remove. So we're gonna take your blades or a blade. Take that out. I mean, that's also my little trick I do. I just dip it in a little bit of 8222. Not too much. Then, I just... When I'm scraping the glass, I'm working very, very gentle. This whole process is very, very gentle. You cannot refurbish the screen trying to, use caveman methods and being aggressive. You got to be very, very gentle. Your fingers got to work very light and precise. So after I dip off a little bit, clean and cloth, then I clean in that area. Oh, see, I dipped it a little bit too much and almost got to the side. If you ever get it to the side, hurry up and wipe it off as soon as you can. Yeah, you never want that thing to sit in the side. Or even better yet, grab a dry towel and just go back, on the edge, making sure that nothing is gonna sneak in there. So yeah, it is gonna take you a little bit of time, maybe about 3 to 5 minutes for you to clean this, perfectly. And just gotta keep working. Make sure all the glue is off of it perfectly. Okay, it's looking. Okay, so now I got my humidifier on. Y'all can get this at Walmart. It's very, very cheap for like $10 to $15. But it's gonna help me get the dust out of the way so I get no dust on top of my screen. And now we're gonna be changing our molds into the glass alignment mode. This is a polarizer / cleaner mode. So I'm gonna line it up perfectly. We're gonna give it a couple of cleans before we pop it inside our lamination machine. Now, our lamination machine, there's different types of lamination machines that you can use. But just my advice is that when you get a lamination machine, don't get the one that's very, very cheap. Get a lamination machine that can do glass or frame. And you know, it has like an air bubble, it has a air bubble remover, excuse me, it has a bubble remover, you know, attached to it too. Don't get the one that you have to get an air compressor, you have to get all the extra stuff. But anyways, so on the glass, I'm gonna do a couple of cleaning, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna peel off this back and we're gonna line it up perfectly before we pop it inside our lamination machine. So just doing a couple of fine printing. Sometimes it's, you know, just little dust on it. Like I said, you want to clean this to like perfection, because it depends on what type of environment that you're working in. If there's a lot of dust in the room, I normally used to do this in the garage, you know, it was always a lot of dust in there. So but I want to make sure I clean this perfectly. And I'm going to take my last cloth, a little bit of acetone. And I'm cleaning all of this with acetone. So, yeah, before I put the glass on, I'm doing all my cleaning with acetone. I'm not using 88222 anymore. Okay, so now I think it's clean enough to me, and we're gonna get ready to align our glass. Yeah, this can never be, you know, perfect. You just gotta keep cleaning it, make sure the slightest bit of glass, the slightest bit of dust is not, the kind of dust right there, it's not about to get on it at all. One more dust right there. And when we're gluing this on, we're gonna make sure that we're not touching the edges. We're gonna just drop this on right here, and we're not gonna press down at all. We're gonna press from the back. So now that's on. We're gonna lift it up, give it a little press in the middle. Oh, I haven't get it pressed out in the middle. Press in the middle, flip it around, hurry up as soon as you can. Then you wanna pop that bad boy right onto your lamination machine. Oh man, my emergency button is stuck. There it is. Lamination was about 70 seconds. So once we take it off, just after laminating, we're gonna have a couple of bubbles in it. So now we're gonna throw it inside our bubble remover and remove all those excess bubbles. Okay, so now the bubble removing process was about 3 to 4 minutes, but I have mine set to 4 minutes. So now we're gonna take it out and we're gonna remove our final product. And it has bubbles on top, but we're gonna just peel this back off. So now, looking at it, no bubbles at all. You guys see it? Looks perfect and clean. So now with this step, we're gonna put it on our tester phone. We're gonna test it up, make sure, you know, everything is touching correctly and the whole entire screen works perfect. Let's go. So now we're gonna get it on our tester phone and we're gonna turn on and see our results. So boom, there it is. It's our complete result. Everything is working 100%. Brightness, everything, no backlight issues. Typing, everything working 100%. Now, if you followed all the instructions in this video, you should be fine. If you guys do have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to this video. If you have any comments, concerns, whatever it is, please feel free to leave it below, and I'll try to reply to you guys as soon as I can. Thank you.